On the outskirts of the vast desert, where few travelers passed and only the lonely and resilient resided, lived a poor young man named Zaid. The small hut that sheltered him had worn walls. Through its cracks the wind would sneak in, stabbing him with swords of cold, while sand seeped into its corners like an unwelcome guest. Zaid was born an orphan. His parents died when he was a child, leaving him a single memory and a priceless inheritance: a purebred horse, which his father had proudly boasted of among the Arab knights. The horse was his loyal companion and friend. Poverty ruled his life with cruelty. He would wake up each morning with his stomach screaming from hunger, and spend his days searching for strenuous work that yielded only a day's sustenance. Sometimes he would collect firewood to sell to passers-by. Other times he would water camels for a piece of bread and a jar of water. Despite this, he carried the dignity and pride of a knight. He would never ask for charity. On cold desert nights, he would sit by a weak fire, gazing at the star-studded sky, imagining that life would one day open its doors and he would escape this hardship to a wider, more welcoming world. The horse was not just an animal, but a memory of a father he loved deeply. However, feeding and caring for it had become a heavy burden in a time of hunger. The difficult days passed until his food ran out, his strength began to fade, and his eyes grew hollow. One night, as he sat alone staring at the horse, he felt fate pressuring him to make a decision he never thought he would make: to sell his friend. His heart clung to the horse like a drowning man clings to hope, but his mind reminded him that hunger could kill him. He spent the night caught between the struggle of emotion and the logic of survival. The next morning, his mind was made up. He decided to go to the great market in the neighboring city, carrying with him the only treasure he had ever owned. The sun rose that day with a pale color, as if sharing Zaid's sorrow. There was nothing in his chest but a crushing weight. He approached the horse, stroking its wide neck. The horse raised its head with a faint neigh, as if asking, "Where to?" Zaid found no answer. Silence was more truthful than any words. He stood up slowly and took the horse's reins, feeling that every knot he tightened was also tightening his heart. He whispered in its ear, "Forgive me, for poverty shows no mercy." He walked out of the hut, dragging his steps, with the horse following calmly behind him. The wind carried the desert dust, singing a song of farewell. He crossed the bare land until the features of the city began to appear: high walls, watchtowers, and the distant sound of movement. He entered the great market, a sea of colors, sounds, and smells. He moved from one merchant to another, showing him his horse. They would inspect it, but each offer was far too low. With each failed attempt, his heart fluttered, and a voice deep inside him said, "Go back, don't sell it." But his hunger screamed louder. As he moved through the market, he glimpsed a dignified man with mysterious features, watching him from afar with an unreadable smile. This was the beginning of what would change his life forever. Then, the dignified man approached. He wore a luxurious robe of black cloth embroidered with gold and a pure white turban. He stopped before Zaid, looked at the horse for a long moment, and said calmly, "A noble steed, and its owner seems in great distress. Are you selling it?" Zaid replied cautiously, "Yes, to whoever gives me a worthy price." The man took out a small scroll and a large silver ring. "I have no money to give you, but these two are worth more than you can imagine. This is a map to a forgotten place in the desert, and this ring is its key." Zaid's face darkened. "What good is a map and a ring when I need bread?" The man moved closer and lowered his voice. "If you are wise, you will leave this deal owning something no one else owns, an unparalleled kingdom." Zaid froze. The sounds of the market seemed to fade away as a dialogue flared within him. His heart whispered, "This is an opportunity. Do not let it pass." But his mind retorted sharply, "Are you trading your only horse for an old map and a ring? You need food and water, not dreams." The mysterious man observed him in silence, then said in a deep voice, "I know you fear loss, but is the safest path always the right one? Sometimes danger is the only door to glory." His words shook Zaid to his core. He was at a crossroads. Without realizing it, he extended his hand and took the map and the ring. "I accept your deal," he said, his voice firm. The man smiled. "Good. Follow the map, and you will find your way when the time is right." Zaid left the market, clutching the map and the ring. On the outskirts of the city, he studied its mysterious landmarks. A rock like a lion's head, a winding valley, and engravings of stars. He began his journey into the unknown. Thirst soon crept into his throat. As the sun began to set, he spotted a massive rock in the distance resembling a sleeping lion. His heart leapt. This was the first sign. The next morning, a fierce sandstorm erupted. When it subsided, he saw something that restored his strength. Strange engravings on stone slabs that perfectly matched the symbols on his map. He was entering the true depths of this mysterious journey. After hours of walking, the terrain changed. Rocky formations and the ruins of pale walls appeared. Suddenly, an astonishing scene unfolded before him. The ruins of a great city, its massive gates half buried in the sand. Adding to the mystery, a faint whisper began to reach his ears. Fragmented, unclear words echoing in the air. He remembered the merchant's words. "The city is not cursed, but it is guarded by fear." He proceeded cautiously. The moment he stepped inside, the scent of ancient ages hit him. He saw a shadow pass quickly. The deeper he went, the clearer the whispering became. He stopped before a massive ruined building with engravings that matched his map. As he reached out to touch the stone, he heard a voice whisper his name. Zaid quickly ducked behind a wall. Moments later, he saw two men emerge from a dark corner. "We will frighten him as we did the others. Once he flees, we will take whatever he has." Zaid's eyes widened as he grasped the truth. No ghosts or spirits, but thieves, pretending, creating sounds and superstitions to keep visitors away. He finally understood the meaning of guarded by fear. He watched as three other men joined them, striking copper pipes to create eerie, trembling sounds. Zaid decided to act wisely. He knew that his true strength lay not in the sword, but in cunning. He would not confront them directly. He knew that nearby villages had heard the horror stories. If he brought them here and showed them the truth, the spell of fear would be broken. By mid-morning, Zaid walked to the nearest village and told a few men he trusted what he had seen. At first, they were skeptical, but when he promised they would see the trick with their own eyes, they agreed to follow him. That evening, they returned, armed with torches and sticks. They hid until the thieves arrived and began their performance. Suddenly, Zaid's men lit their torches and surrounded the thieves. Their secret was exposed, and the superstition vanished in an instant. The thieves retreated into a deserted palace. Zaid saw piles of dry wood and straw nearby. He whispered to his men, "Block every escape route, I will force them out." He crept alone and lit a small flame among the piles. The thick smoke spread, and shouts of panic erupted from within. "Fire! Fire! We have to get out!" The thieves had no choice but to surrender, emerging with their hands raised. Their leader unfastened a large key from his belt. "This opens the city storehouses," he said, defeated. "Take it. We have lost everything." When the storehouses were opened, light flooded onto massive piles of sacks filled with grain and chests overflowing with gold, silver, and rare artifacts. The villagers gazed in awe. One of the elders stepped forward. "Zaid, you restored our land and our dignity. You should be the master of this city." Zaid stood with the great key in his hand, knowing that the journey which began with a difficult decision had led him to a destiny he never dreamed of. Zaid began to establish a new order. He sent messengers to the neighboring villages, inviting them to settle in the city, informing them that the legends were lies. Families arrived in droves. He quickly earned the nickname, the Just Ruler. He organized the people into teams to build new homes, renovate old ones, and dig wells for clean water. He walked among the people, neither arrogant nor distant. He ate with the workers, comforted the elders, and listened to their complaints each evening, judging with fairness. With the passing of days, life returned to the city. The markets bustled,
children played, and water flowed. Zaid realized that the love and respect he received were greater than all the gold in the storehouses. One morning, a man stood before him in the market. His face was veiled, but his eyes had a familiar, unforgettable look. It was the mysterious merchant. "Zaid," the merchant smiled, "I have been watching you since the day you sold your horse. I was not looking for a horse or money. I was looking for a man with a brave heart and a wise mind." He told Zaid that he had once been the master of the city, before fear and greed drove everyone away. He had hidden the treasure, waiting for someone worthy to restore life to the city. Zaid looked at him with gratitude. "If I had sold the horse for gold, I would have been rich for a day and poor for a lifetime. But I traded my wealth to buy wisdom.
And I gained the world." He offered the merchant a small box of jewels, a gift from the one who taught me that the greatest treasure is wisdom. The merchant smiled, placed a hand on Zaid's shoulder, and then disappeared into the crowd. That evening, Zaid stood on the highest balcony of the palace, looking down at the city, now bustling with life. He closed his eyes and whispered to himself, "The poor man is not he who lacks money, but he who lacks a dream, a mind, and persistence." And so the curtain fell on Zaid's story, a lesson to be told for generations, a testament that the most precious thing a person can ever buy is wisdom.